Hey, fellow riblets, it's me, Tom from Target Prime Rib. Thank you for all coming. Today is a special day. I have special guest, Amy Hosp from A Carnivore Created in Secret. And so we don't have to wait any longer for her than we have to. I'm going to bring her on now. And here is Amy Hosp.
Hey guys,
Hey, Amy, how you doing?
great. We're driving down the freeway. I hope nobody cares.
Uh, hey, just drive safely. That's all.
I'm teasing. I'm not driving. I don't have a cow.
So we got a few people on right now. Just the name. We got Terry B, which I don't know if you realize or not, but that's Teresa
Yes.
from
Yeah.
Healing Humanity. And then Jill is on right now. And Bacon Baby. I forget what her actual name is, but she's another person that we've seen before. So welcome everybody, and welcome Amy. I appreciate you coming, and so how are things going with you today, Amy?
Good. Should I kind of explain what the heck is happening, what I'm doing right here?
It's your call. Yep. Terry and Jill are both saying bean dip, so I guess they figured out that you're in bean dip right now.
Yes, I'm in bean dip, and it's still humid today. We're having a cold front. It's about 82, so that's good, but it's still kind of humid. So if I look like I'm red, it's because bean dip. Anyway, it's what it is, y'all. But you know what? A challenge is always good. So I am sitting at bean dip, waiting to go see my chiropractor because I actually have a little hip injury, and for me to work everything out that I have to do today, I'm sitting in a park. I'm pretending like I'm out camping in Arizona already. So call it a practice run. I don't know.
Just to make sure, this doing this isn't hurting your back or anything like that, is it?
No, I'm good. I'm
Okay.
good.
So I know we like planned this for quite a while and everything, but I definitely don't want you to be hurting just for me,
Thomas, I would hurt for you any day.
I know, and I appreciate that, but doesn't mean I'm going to require you to.
I mean, not everybody would get the same kind of treatment from me. So there you go.
I mean, I know you said that your chiropractor starts at 6, so we'll make sure that this doesn't go any longer than that, so you're not late for your chiropractor, because I know how important that is.
Well, that's about 3 hours from now. So yeah.
Oh, 6 o'clock your time. That's right. You're 3 o'clock. So okay. See, for me, it's 2 hours.
Yeah.
And
well, technically it's 5:45, and I'm about 3 buildings away. So
okay. So you could actually crawl there if you wanted to.
I thought about it, but depending on how the adjustment
goes. Or do like Marty McFly and like grab a skateboard and just roll.
Then I would definitely need a chiropractor. I would probably need an orthopedic.
I would need more than a chiropractor. I'd probably need a stretcher.
Yeah, I would need an ambulance too. Yeah.
So, so you were telling me the other day or yesterday, time kind of goes into different ways for me, as you can tell in some of the times I've been on interviews myself. That you're doing a new book with somebody. You're going to tell us who that person is.
Oh yeah. And just let me say, if you guys message me or anything, just want you to know the setup that I'm on, which is on my phone, and I'm trying to be really super still for you guys, but it's not working.
It's kind of hard to read the messages. Is that what you're saying?
I can't see them at all. So
okay.
So if you message me, just know that I can't see. I'm not ignoring you.
If there's anything that's really important, if you guys have any questions for Amy specifically or me, I will do my best to make sure that I catch it, and we'll put it down into the chats. That'd be definitely.
Okay, so
so far no questions. More like hope not serious, Amy. Oh no, and that comes from Teresa. Just stuff like that. Nothing really.
Yeah, really. Sorry about the steering wheel. Maybe I should just do this.
It makes you look. You've been framed.
Okay, So actually,
How long have I been using that joke for? You're steering in the wrong direction. Sorry.
Oh, see, Thomas, that sense of humor. I'm telling you, that's it. Right there. Oh my gosh, y'all. Okay, so the injury is not bad. It's just that part of the disorder that I have. I dislocate joints, and not y'all. I used to dislocate a joint 2 or 3 times a day, different joints every single day. I'd have 2 or 3 or more dislocations and subluxations. A subluxation, by the way, is a half of a dislocation, so to speak. The joint slides halfway out of joint, and so anyway, I have a pinched nerve because of it. It's just something, since I'm leaving for Arizona next week. Right. I needed to get in, so I called him this morning begging, please, please let me come today. So
yeah, no, I think you should definitely. I mean, you're traveling and everything like that, and I would think a pinched nerve would be problematic when you're traveling because of all the spinning and everything like that. So I'm guessing you're going to have to get out and stretch for a little bit too.
Yeah, like just definitely.
Relieve that pinched nerve.
Yeah. So my chiropractor with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, you shouldn't be doing chiropractic adjustments very often. My doctor happens to know what this disorder is, and so he's very gentle and always helps me and doesn't want me to come very often because I can't hold an adjustment anyway. After I get an adjustment, it just slips right back out. So I have to be super careful how I move. So obviously, when I'm done with the chiropractor, I'm going grocery shopping, obviously. So, we'll see. I have to grocery shop carefully anyway. So,
now, just to tell everybody, just really quickly, and tell you too, I still have a bad cough every once in a while. So if I mute, I'm not muting against you. I don't want you to hear the coughing. So,
okay.
So just so you know, just so everybody knows.
You don't want to do your best duck impression with us or anything?
I don't sound like Donald Duck when I cough.
Okay.
I mean, I used to be able to imitate Kermit the Frog, but I don't know. I guess just as I got older, like once I had my throat operated on, that kind of changed a little bit.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Okay, kind of got rid of the sleep apnea, but I got rid of Kermit too.
Oh, that's a shame for the Kermit people.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's, I'm not going to do that today. We'll do it some other time. Maybe on another Friday steak escape. I'll try it.
Okay. Yeah. So the book that I'm writing, there's a lady. Her name is June Hunt, and June Hunt is a Christian radio counselor, and she has been doing radio counseling since 1986. And I met her then when I was in college. She came to a back to school retreat, and I was going through some things in my home. A visitor was staying in my home, and during that period, some really difficult things are going on for me. And that summer was a big summer for me, and for a bunch of reasons, not healthy summer. And I had decided that I was going to not be alive anymore, and I was going to do this on my way back to college. And so I called a friend, and she asked me, please just go to the retreat. Please just get to the retreat. And the retreat was about an hour away from where our school was. And I get there, and I see this lady standing there, and I just look at her, and she can, I guess, tell that I was in distress. I don't know. It could have totally been the way I was crying. I don't know. Anyway, so she asked if she could pray for me, and she basically saved my life that day. And about 10 years ago now, from now, I was dealing with something, and I was journaling, and I had written on the back of this journal page to call June Hunt for some counseling. Now, fast forward to about 4 years, well, I guess about 3 years ago, I was dealing with something again, working in my journals. And I was looking for this one particular journal because I knew I had been working on this problem before in the past, whatever the problem is. And when I found that, it was almost to the date that I found it, that I had originally written that journal entry. And I looked on the back of that journal entry and it said call June Hunt, that same message that, so now I've ran across that twice after doing it. It just so happened that June was teaching a class at First Baptist Church Dallas, and the next I really wanted to go. I've seen June throughout the years and gone to conferences and things like that, and so I really wanted to go to this, but it was downtown Dallas and I have bean dip and it was a long way to drive, and so I was going to do it online. And then I thought, wait, why am I going to do this online? I think I'm going to go down to the church and it's a Sunday night, little traffic. And it turned out that the next meeting that they had was, again, the same date, one day off. I believe it was one day off from that original post journal entry that I had written the back on that said, okay. So it was just kind of, I felt like a God ordained thing. And I went to see, so I went down and I saw June, and I told her, how she had helped me a long time ago. And I started going to church there, started going to her Sunday school class, and then I started volunteering for her ministry. And I was doing radio transcripts for her. They do a radio program every night, Monday through Friday, on worldwide, all over the place, and on any local Christian radio station or bot radio station or Apple Podcast. Anyway, it's called Hope for the Heart. And what my job was, I would transcribe the radio program so that she would have a sheet. Now, if that person that called in for counseling were to call back, she can look at the sheet and have an idea of what the last thing they talked about.
Right.
So June and I became good friends, and I was at her house not too long ago. I went over to ask her some advice about some things, and we were talking about Carnvore. And y'all, a year ago, she had me on her radio program for 3 nights talking about Carnvore, and I was just starting and so green and excited. But that her program is literally worldwide. And so here I am talking about Carnvore on worldwide.
Is she still around? Like, she still have a program and everything?
Yeah, she still has a program. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I mean, it's every Monday through Friday.
You said her name because I never heard of a June, so that would be new to me. So.
June Hunt, Hunt, and the name of the program is called Hope in the Night.
Hope in the Night.
Okay. Yeah, and her ministry is called Hope in the Heart. So you could Google Hope in the Heart. And what she does, she helps people with all kinds of issues that you can imagine. She writes what's called Keys for Living in their books. And it takes you through like how to deal with depression scripturally, what are the characteristics of it, what causes depression, what you can do to help yourself, things like that. And so now she is out. And so now I go to this second meeting or another meeting at her house, and we're talking about Carnvore, and we're talking about how much hope I have now in life and how my depression is better, and that I'm no longer suicidal, which I was daily suicidal for years. And she asked me if I would please write a book with her on how my hopelessness was changed to hope. And it is such an honor to be able to write with her and do this. And she wants me to write about how I met her all those years, and she helped me stay alive. And she's helped me more than once. Wonderful. Yeah, so I'm very, very excited about this opportunity because it's also, she's an established author, established publisher, publishes with an established publishing house. And that's going to, since we are co-authoring the book, that is really going to open some doors for me. So
I mean, so this book isn't really a children's book then. It's something different than what you've done before.
Yeah, it's not a children's book. It's going to be a devotional book.
I mean, that sounds wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting, but it also is opening up to the possibility of being able to share more of my testimony about Carnvore. I need to go pull up that and post those radio programs. I need to go post those on my channel.
I think it'd be a good idea to put them on your put them on your channel and add them in there. I think that would be a wonderful idea. I really do.
Yes, go and listen.
So I mean, you sort of did already, but Juliette Marie, she hasn't met you. She doesn't know you or anything like that. And she was, because of not knowing you, she wanted to know about your background story. Like what actually brought you fully into carnivore.
Excuse me.
Like how were you in the past, like before carnivore and stuff like that? The classic.
Yeah, awesome. So the truth is, it started one dark, stormy night on the night of my birth. No, I'm just kidding. It was not that long ago. So
Longer than you would like, but not as long as people might think.
it is kind of about my birth, though. So I have a handful of rare genetic disorders, and the combinations of them together make them very rare. I've always been overweight my entire life. I've always had a severe weight issue. I have a disorder that I dislocate my joints all the time. I have another disorder called osteogenesis imperfecta. It's brittle bone disease. And so I could do something as simply as slipping my shoe off and break a bone in my foot. And I have POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, and I was having to use a wheelchair everywhere I went because POTS makes you very dizzy. And I wasn't able to stand up long enough to stand in line anywhere. I couldn't walk a long distance at all, any distance. I couldn't even stand up long enough to fry an egg when I started carnivore.
Right.
Can you hear this noise back here? Is it too loud?
No. I mean,
Can
the only
you
thing
hear
I can
it?
hear is my air conditioner coming on a little bit, but I don't really
Okay. Well, there's a street sweeper out here or something. Anyway,
No.
if you can hear it, I can roll up my window.
I mean, if anybody else hears in the chat, let us know.
Okay.
Terry says not at all. So.
Okay, so then once I found out about all of these genetic disorders and all these disorders, I have like about 70 diagnoses. When I first started doing carnivore,
I didn't mean to laugh, but that's a lot.
it's a lot. When I first started doing carnivore, I would say that I had 50 because I was too embarrassed to say that I had 70.
Right.
I thought 50 is a good round number,
Right.
Most people,
most
people have 1 to 5 things, not Amy. I never do anything small. So, I have to take it all the way. But my life was very unmanageable. I single, not married, no kids, lived by myself. My parents had passed away. I had 0 people coming to help me do anything in my home that needed to be doing, such as cleaning, cooking, all those kind of things. So I was really, really not good. I actually have lots of trauma around some medical things that happened when I was a baby, and just the list goes on and on, y'all. But currently, what I'm working on right now, I also have 6 congenital heart issues. I don't know if anybody else on earth, maybe. I'm hoping there's a whole bunch of people like me. Not that I want anybody else to have what I have, but I'm hoping there's like a whole subcategory of these kind of people that are out there, and I'm not like the only one. But,
I mean, there probably are. Just finding them is,
yeah,
probably a little problematic,
So, I've been on carnivore for 501 days, and I've never done 501 days of anything positive for myself ever. So I'm proud of myself for doing that. 500 days of being determined, 500 days of getting better, 500 days of feeling better, 500 days of consistency. Beef, bacon, butter, eggs, and I have some dairy, and that's it. That's it. And it's the easiest thing I've ever done in my life.
And if I didn't feel it hurt your back, I would actually tell you to pat yourself on the back. But
but you know what? I can reach it because I'm double jointed. So anyway,
give yourself a special thing to.
And technically, it's my hip. So anyway,
that's true, but still, the stretch might still.
Yeah. So the other thing is that
it's all connected.
People a lot of times think that I'm complaining. I say I have this and this and this, and I am that one person that if you're in a group of people and everybody's talking about their ailments, I'm like, oh, I have that. Or more specifically, what their grandmother, oh, we just found out my grandmother has lupus. I'm like, I have that. I don't say it out loud anymore, but
Kind of like
well, we
rolled in
found
the
out
back
my
of your
neighbor.
head, right?
Yeah, my neighbor has rheumatoid arthritis. I have that. They have sojourns. I have that. All these different, right? All these different things that I have, and it gets to be a little bit comical to me, but that's just my
Right. Well,
personality.
you've done it for so many times that you just, you start
Yeah,
laughing at yourself. Yeah.
yeah. So one thing I don't have is diabetes. So I probably have less. There's probably less things I don't have that are popular these days. But anyway, it's all good. But here's the deal. I'm no longer in my wheelchair. I started January 20th. By the second week of March, I put my wheelchair in storage because I didn't need it anymore.
Good for you.
Somebody at my church told me about Carnvore and said, Amy, we think this would help you feel better. And so I said, okay, let me give it a try. And I did, and it helped me so much. I can remember that probably maybe 3 weeks in, maybe 4 weeks in, there was like a curtain that was in front of my face and it just moved. And I was like, hello, world. I didn't even know you were out there. My brain fog was so bad. I didn't even know I had brain fog. I had no
Yeah.
idea what all I've been missing out on. My creativity is way off the chart as far as um, it kind of actually makes me sad to think about all those years of creativity that I lost due to illness,
Yeah.
and brain fog. And there isn't a single thing that I have, not a single diagnosis out of all 70 of them, and all the other aches and pains and all the things. There's not a single thing that I have that is not better. I would say overall, I'm probably about 75% better. I'm not 100% better, but my 75% might be like somebody else's 35 or 45%. I'll
Yeah.
never, and this is another thing that, I have to remind myself that I'm always going to injure myself. It's just part of what it is. Carnivore's not going to fix that. What Carnivore does, it keeps my injury from being as severe. My injury heals probably 6 times quicker than it did before. That's
Right.
why I hurt my hip on Sunday night, and I just kept thinking it's going to get better. It's going to get well. A pinched nerve is a pinched nerve. It's not going to unpinch itself without some assistance because of my joints, my joint issues. But I used to sublux or dislocate something 2 or 3 times a day. Now, maybe once or twice a week, maybe. I haven't broken a bone in over a year. That's amazing. I had mischievous gravis, which is a muscle disorder. That is much, much better. Just some really strange things that should not be in the same person at the same time. But it might have to do with my last name being Hosp, like the
You
abbreviation
go
for
score for
hospital.
hospital.
I'm just kidding. Always, always say that because
I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing.
I mean, if I didn't laugh about it, I would cry, right? So,
Well,
yeah,
I totally agree with you on that. Like you have to kind of like laugh at some of these, a lot of these things, because you go crazy if you don't. You
yes, yes,
know,
yeah,
I mean, like when I had my situation, I'm not talking about me today. I'm talking, we're talking about you, obviously, because it's your day. But
uh-huh.
when I had my toes amputated, I made the joke to my doctor. I said, "You're the worst magician I've ever seen." He like looked at me like, "What?" I said, "You make my toes disappear, but you can't bring them back." You know, and he laughed. And you just have to, or like when I had the wound vac, I'd be like, this thing really sucks. Which is an old joke, but
Right?
I mean, but you just have to have humor. And they knew that every time I came, I'd be like having all this humor, and they knew that I would do whatever it takes. And if I didn't say anything, that means something was wrong, and I had a bad day that day, which was as often as which was pretty often with a bad roommate. But so what put you, like, we're talking about the books before. What had you start doing children's books? Like what brought that? And how'd you meet Lynn to work with her?
Yeah.
To
So through all of my years of depression, and y'all, there were tons of them. I've been in a psych hospital probably 20 times. Uh, And most of those were because I would take some medication. I have mast cell activation disorder, which just means that too much histamine. And so when I would take a medication, it would cause me to break out in hives or something.
Okay.
So a lot of times they would put me in the hospital so they could switch the medication. But in that process, I started journaling. And there were times where I legitimately needed to be in the hospital to keep myself safe, from self-harm, from complete destruction. But anyway, so I was journaling a lot, and I wrote a lot in poetry. Most of my journaling is poetry, which, by the way, is what's going to be in the book with June. Some of my poetry will be in the book, and about how the lies that I the lies that I believed about myself, and then the truth about what God's word says about who I am in Christ. And so that's the focus of that book. But in doing that, writing poetry, I also taught school for a little while, and so I would
Oh yeah,
write
I think you
stories.
said one time that you were a teacher, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would write stories for kids, and then I would start writing poetry for kids. And so I already had a small handful of kids' books already published on Amazon that pretty much just sit there. When you publish on Amazon, by the way, anybody that's wanting to publish, it's easy squeezy. You can set your own price, but unless anybody knows you're there, nobody's ever going to buy your book because nobody will ever know it's there. So it takes more than just, publishing. But do you know Coach Becca Bavery? Coach Becca?
I know
Well,
Coach
she's,
Becca, but I didn't know her last name was
yeah,
Bakery.
yeah. So Coach Becca and I were friends from Dr. Barry's group. And
Right.
she said, "Hey, Amy, I think that you need to contact Lynn. I think you guys would have a lot in common." And I
No,
said,
just to
"Okay."
interrupt, we're talking about Lynn
Lynn
DeVoki from
Devokie.
Inlight.
Yeah. Lynn Devokie.
In case anybody didn't realize who we were talking about.
Yeah. Lynn Devokie. She's in
Sorry
Healing
about
Humanity.
that.
That's okay. Some people might not know her. If you go to any Healing Humanity group, she's in there telling you how Zoom meetings work.
And she has her own channel. She's pretty prominent on her own
Oh yeah,
premises.
yeah, for sure. So anyway, uh, Becca had told Lynn the same thing. You need to meet Amy. So we got each other's number. I called Lynn one day and we talked for a little bit. Then I found out she was down in Austin. I live in Fort Worth. That she was down in Austin for the whatever they did in Austin last year, the big giant where everybody goes. Sorry, I don't know the name of it. Anyway, so I called her. Yeah, Hack Your Health, maybe was it Hack Your Health?
Oh, maybe, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty new to all this stuff too. Like,
Yeah,
I'm going to Boston, but that's the first thing I'm doing, the meetup in Boston.
yeah.
I haven't even attempted
I
anything.
don't know which one it was, but anyway, her and Dave were there, her husband, and so I called her and I was like, "Hey, you're in Austin. That's like 4 hours away. Can I just come meet you guys?" And so I did, and um, we talked one time on the phone, and so I got there and I was like, I brought you some of my children's books that I've written. I just want to let you see kind of what I do. And she goes, I want to write for kids too. So we decided we would start writing together. And we have let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we're getting ready to publish our 6, 7, 8. I think we have 8 or 9 books total. We're about to publish our 8th or 9th book. And we've written them all together except for 2, and we split up. She wrote the Easter one, and I wrote 2 mystery books, chapter books for kids. And we're back together, so we're about to publish one for the 4th of July. And it's about a little firecracker who jumps into a tub of ice cream to cool himself off because he gets so hot and he's afraid he'll explode before time. So it talks about how sugar ruins him, and he didn't get to participate that year. Anyway, really cute, lots of fun. But that's how we're doing that. I'm hoping to get this as curriculum in schools. I hope that when I get a better bean dip, that's the name of my van, and I can start traveling. I'm hoping to have heart surgery this month. hopefully, or very soon, so that I can take my next step into being more active and being able to do more. But I hope to travel, start going to all of the meetups. I'm getting ready to sell my home, hopefully, so I'll be able to afford to do all of this. Trying to get this curriculum in, and I actually know somebody that knows the. I don't even know what the titles are, y'all. So,
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like as you progress, as you get better. I mean, it's the same thing with me too. I'm sure we're 90% of the people on here at least. It's like, okay, what's my next chapter? What's my next step?
yeah,
And
yeah.
you know,
So I met a guy. His name is Brett Smith. I don't know if any of you have ever seen him on an interview. It's been a long time since he's done one,
I'd have
but
to look them up. Yeah.
I actually did an interview with him, and I don't think he's ever posted it. But he knows the person who is in RFK's staff that gets mail to him.
Okay.
So trying to get him some of our books. So really, really, y'all pray about that for us. Lynn and I are trying to get our books into the government's hands so they can, we need to make these books, by the way, go to best-selling lists, not because for us, but if it's on the best-selling list, people are going to see it and purchase it for their kids to help their kids. Lynn and I don't even care about if we make any money doing this. It is part of my living a little bit, but we haven't made enough to live on it, that's for sure.
And that doesn't shock me any, because
I mean, it's just how it is. But please tell your friends about this. If you know anybody that has kids or grandkids, the book, the Superhuman Power Foods for Humanity, actually, a portion of those proceeds go to the documentary. And then we also have one for the American Diabetes Society, and that's Sugar Cubie, the Sugar Monster. And a portion of those proceeds are going to be donated to that organization. And you can just look my name up or look Lynn's name up.
Obviously, I don't have any kids, but when I can, maybe I'll buy one of the books, and then when we do finally meet, I'll have you sign it.
That would be awesome. Yeah, but go on Amazon and look up either my name or Lynn's name. And if you don't have kids, think about purchasing a book and putting it in your school library and donating to somebody in somebody's name that you would like to donate, or a public library. So we just need to get the word out. We need to get on a list. And so we will be traveling. I won't be at the next two meetups, but I'll be hopefully in Wisconsin. But we bring some books so you can actually buy one. I don't know if Lynn is going to Boston or not, but I know she's coming to Wisconsin.
I don't think she is. I know Adam are.
Yeah, I
think Coach Lisa is, but I don't think it was mentioned that Lynn was going.
Yeah, I don't think Lynn is going. But anyway,
but nice if she was.
Yeah, and that's our goal. We wanted to write for every holiday, because what do you do on the holiday? Any holiday, what do you do? You meet with your family.
You pretty much celebrate with family, and there's a good chance that there's probably going to be food there that's not too apropos for carnivore.
All the junk food. And so we're trying to write for the holidays so that there's alternatives. So we didn't do one for Memorial Day. We probably will go do that, and also for Labor Day, because why not? But we're down to, I guess, Halloween and Thanksgiving, I think, are our last two of the major holidays where food is involved.
Well, and both of them would be pretty major when it comes to food. Candy for Halloween and Thanksgiving with all the the family and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's pretty cool. So I just put on the thing. Juliet Marie just said, I'm going to buy the books for the grandchildren. I am planning to manifest 27 and 31-year-old daughters. Youngest, no intention of kids, but I have hope in my older daughter. So I guess she doesn't have the grandkids yet, but it's what I'm kind of reading here. And if I'm wrong, I apologize, Juliet. But she does plan on getting the books for the potential grandchildren, which is cool.
Awesome. Well, this book
that probably wouldn't hurt for you to read them yourself. Yeah.
They're fun. They're fun.
I actually, I'm an adult and I still watch cartoons. So if you can watch cartoons as an adult, why can't you like read some really good, I've find myself as an adult reading a good Dr. Seuss or something like that,
Yeah. You know what? I watched the Flintstones last night. I can't go wrong with the Flintstones.
Yeah.
And they were big meat eaters too, those Flintstones.
Oh yeah. Actually, it's funny you said that. Me and I don't know if you heard of Booby Goats, Aaron, at all. You ever hear of Booby Goats?
I've heard the name a couple of times, but I don't know them.
Okay, well she's has her own channel and everything, and she has like 10 children. And I asked her like what because her birthday was just the other day. It was like maybe like a week ago or so, and she just turned 40. And I asked her, I said, "What did you have for your birthday?" And she said, "I had a dino rib from the Flintstones." And I said, "Well, that sounds really good." And I said to her, I said, she has a little girl who's 2 years old named Rocky for Raquel. And I said, "Did you dress Rocky as Pebbles?" And then she said something about they only have Bam Bam costumes, and it kind of went weird. But because she's like this little 2-year-old. She kind of reminds me of, and I don't know if anybody in the chat knows what I'm talking. A feral grandma probably knows. She kind of reminds me of Sally from the Peanuts because she has like really blonde curly hair, like going out. So like and I told her that, and she laughed when I said it. In one of the chats, because she does.
Well, the one thing that the kids like about our books is that they're interactive. So one of them is a comic book. It's a comic strip, but there's coloring pages in it and worksheet pages for the kids to do and coloring pages and a place for them to draw their own comic. Our Valentine's Day book is interactive in that it was trying to teach kids how to say I love you without giving candy. And so doing good deeds for people. I love you. Let me help you make up your bed. Those kind of things. So kids can begin to think of different ways that they can help each other and love others and be loved without it involving candy. And of course, the 4th of July, we're going to put some little fun history facts about Betty Ross. Maybe this isn't too official, but Betty Ross and George Washington and Benjamin Franklin when they were children. And we'll have some coloring pages and puzzles and things for them to do. So, we're trying really hard.
Yeah. I mean, it is probably a lot of work, and but if it's worth doing, you're going to do it.
Yeah, it's a passion, because we have to get the kids to understand when they're young. I don't ever want a child to have to grow up like I did. My mom put me on my first diet when I was 8 years old, and my doctor paid me. I got every $10 for every $10 for every 10 pounds I lost or something, and I made $30 at 8 years old. I thought it was the best thing on earth, but my mother had me on a major diet every year of my life, even through college. And of course that messed up my metabolism way back when, but my body is just one that I gain weight easily and lose it not easily. And Carnvore is the only thing that I've ever been able to sustain a weight loss. And I don't like to talk about weight because I didn't do this for weight. I think weight is my weight is none of my business. My business is putting the right things in my body so that my body can be as healthy as it can. And my body will end up weighing what it's supposed to weigh at whatever time that is. Right. And so I'm just not worried about it. But as an encouragement, though, maybe to some others that do want to think about the weight loss, I've lost 80 pounds. I say on the scale it's 70, but I gained 12 pounds of muscle and almost a pound and a half of bone. And so, so I add it all together. So technically I've lost 80 pounds of fat, and that's awesome. This is the least I have weighed, y'all, since 1986, believe it or not. And I still need to lose over 100 pounds.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with the weight issue. I mean, I've mentioned before about how my mom, the whole focus for her was the weight. But meanwhile, she's actually doing good in other things. Like she was like walking up and down the stairs after like always falling and everything. And her brain, her mind was just getting like sharp as a tack, and she was doing really, really well. But she wasn't losing the weight. And because she wasn't losing the weight, she was like, okay, this isn't working.
Yeah.
And so I always tell people, in my opinion, and this is my opinion. I mean, I'm not going against anybody. At least I'm not trying to. But you need to have another why than just your weight. You
Yes.
need to bring it on. Like why do you want to lose weight? Like, do you want to go to your daughter's wedding? Do you want to, be able to walk, like out, get out of the wheelchair? Like, what is your why of why weight loss is so important? And then realize that weight loss will come as you get healthier.
Yes, for sure. And you know what I just figured out, by the way, what I'm doing? I just opened my iPad. I can see your comments now. I don't know why I didn't think about that earlier. uh, this is something Carnivore does for me. I just can think through things and think outside of the box that, usually never really happened to me for me before. But my why, I don't
Yeah,
really
you can look
share.
at the comments and you can, yeah.
Yeah, now I can see the comments. That's hilarious. That's pretty good, right? Come on now. um, but you know what? I don't really talk about my why very much.
Yeah.
I think I talked about it with Carrie on a interview I did with Carrie. But my why was really not about. It's about getting healthy, but there's a bigger reason. God called me to be a missionary when I was 9 years old, and I've been on the mission field. I've done a lot of missions work in Mexico. I actually had one of the best gigs ever in Fort Worth. I was a missionary at a apartment complex, so I got my apartment for free. That was a good deal. um, and
Where can I
it
come
was
for that?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a real blessing to do that. And then I've lived in Nigeria, and God has called me to go to the mission field, and just in my van, even to go, as a matter of fact, out to Arizona and to minister to a certain group of people that are living in their vans. And I was to the point that I was too unhealthy. I couldn't do it. As a matter of fact, my mom passed away in April of 20. And I moved out of her house. I couldn't keep the house because I couldn't afford to get the loan. I've been on
Okay.
disability for a really long time.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, so I sold the house, bought a van, moved into my van, and the day that we were closing on the house, because I'm extra talented this way, I went to the dentist and I was having to use a step ladder, step stool to get in and out of the van because it was so tall. Like I could never work for Amazon. I'd spend more time getting in and out of the van than delivering things. But anyway, it had rained for the first time in a long time. And so when I put that stool on the ground, I put my foot on the top of that stool, and the ground was so slick it slid out from underneath me. But I had already shifted my weight to go all the way on the stool, and so I fell out of the van and I broke my left ankle and my right knee. And usually I would put my phone, on the door handle, and then I would grab it after I got out of the van. For some reason I kept it in my hand. So here I'm at the dentist office, laying in the parking lot, rolling around like a beached whale with two broken legs. I roll on this side. I'm like, that's not going to work. I think I better let me roll over to this side. That's not going to work. And so ended up, thank God I had my phone. Ended up calling the ambulance. Like, I think I need some help. And so that was in the middle of COVID, and they put me in a rehab in Dallas. And because I was living in my van, they wanted me to do certain things. They wanted me to get up and walk, and they told me at the hospital, if you walk on this, you're going to cripple yourself for life, the type of break that it was. And so they wanted me to get up and, go to all these things. It was rehab for if you had surgery. And they wanted me to do these certain things. I'm like, no, if I injure my wrist, you're not going to be able to put my big old self on a potty. And that's not going to go well for you, because you're just going to have to come change every time I have to go to the bathroom. And so they said that I was not being compliant because I wouldn't do the rehab things that I wasn't even there for. So they were going to send me to a homeless shelter, y'all, in Dallas, because they considered my van not a home. It was a very terrible time in my life. So,
Wow.
but my why is because God called me to do this certain thing, and I have to make myself healthy enough to be able to go and do it, you know, and
Yeah.
whatever that takes. And evidently, that's carnivore. So I'm getting ready. Hopefully, I've been asked to come back to Nigeria, and I've been told by my people there that as soon as they have the money, they're going to send for me. Well, right now I wouldn't survive in Nigeria. It would be close. I'm a lot healthier than I was the last time I was there, but it's a hard place to live,
Yeah,
and
I would imagine. Yeah.
yeah, and it's this heart issue. If I can get my heart issue fixed, I go do anything. So,
I
but
mean,
so my
yeah.
why is service to God.
I mean, I think that's a pretty good why, and in order to really accomplish that why, and correct me if I'm wrong, you would need to be healthier than you are. And the healthier you get, the more you can actually achieve that goal. So
Yeah.
it's sort of like that stepping stone. It's not like that, like, okay, this is my final thing. It's as you're going along, you're getting better and better at it. Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
definitely. Definitely.
And so I think in a way that's a really good why of why you cry. I definitely would, you know, I definitely would tell that more, like more often, because it's pretty remarkable if you ask me, and
Well, thank you.
no
You
problem.
know, it's not about vanity for me. I always say this: vanity
No,
flew
I'm
out the
not saying it
window.
is. I'm just saying,
Yeah, but I'm saying though for myself, vanity flew out the window a really long time ago. I've been heavy long enough that I really don't care. I've
yeah,
heard it all, and I'm just who I am. I've lived in a van for 9 months on crutches, by the way. That was a treat. Boy, I'm talented. But anyway, uh, I'm I know what van life takes, and right now I wouldn't survive 24/7 in my van. Like
yeah,
just like going to Arizona, my air conditioner. Oh my word, y'all. Y'all pray that the parts come in for my van so that I can get the air conditioner fixed because if not, I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to get to Arizona. I'll have to book a flight last minute, but I have to go to this appointment. But I'm just having faith. I'm trusting God. He told me to go and He'll take care of it. However, I'm
yeah,
supposed to get there, He'll take care of it. So it's taken a lot of faith, a lot of determination, consistency, y'all, consistency. And I wrote a book about this, by the way. It's a workbook, and it's called The Jarring Results of a 90-Day Challenge. In case you don't know, Dr. Berry will challenge you to do a 90-day challenge to
right,
try beef, bacon, butter, eggs for 90 days. And that's what I did. And I thought, I'm going to do it. The time's going to pass anyway, whether I do it or not. So I'm going to try it. And at the end of the 90 days, if I'll feel better, then I'll decide if I want to keep feeling better and keep doing it. Or if I hate it, I don't ever have to do this another single day in my life.
right.
But I wouldn't know unless I tried. And
Okay,
so what came out of that is that I ended up journaling and journaling my food and keeping journals and writing down how I felt before I ate, while I was eating, after I ate, how much I ate. I took pictures of everything so I could get an idea of the portion that I was eating so I could start getting a picture in my head. This much is going to fill me up. This much is going to be too much. I've had lap band surgery. I've had gastric bypass surgery. And so with gastric bypass surgery, I can't eat like the normal person eats carnivore. So I've had to learn how to adjust and get my fats in a little more creatively and things of that nature. And but it's the consistency. This book that I have, it's a workbook, and it's based on the 12 steps of AA. And Overeaters Anonymous uses that. We have a group in Healing Humanity called Breaking Addictions, and if
mm-hmm.
you need some support with eating disorder or being addicted to sugar or pretty much anything, it's a great group. We meet Monday, Wednesdays from 9 Central to at 9 to 10 Central, and then we have an after share time. On Fridays, we meet at 11 Central, and there's a group on Tuesday and Thursday nights that I think is 7 Central. And so there's one every day of the week that you can go and join. It's really great. Think about that if you need
Yeah.
some
I mean,
support with
anybody
that.
that's in healing humanity, definitely. Like I don't go that often, but I've been to a few of the meetings, and they're pretty good.
Yeah,
It's
it's anonymous. And so if you go, nobody's going to get online and say, hey, good seeing you in that Breaking Additions meeting. They're not
right.
going to
I
do that.
mean, unless it's
Yeah.
accidental, but yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
that's true.
I mean, just to make somebody, feel comfortable if that's an issue. But this book though, I did it with some scripture, and every day there are questions to prompt yourself to think about why. For instance, why do you feel like after you've done something carnivore maybe 6 weeks, and you've done really well for these 6. It would be like me right now. I've done carnivore for 501 days. I've done so well. I'm going to go out and have a piece of cake to celebrate. Why would I do that to myself? That's not loving myself. And I hated myself so much, y'all. Hated myself for a whole lot of reasons. But I've learned what carnivore has done for me is it has taught me that I can use food to nourish myself instead of punish myself. And I used food to punish myself. And so that's why I did this book, because I wanted people to learn how they could challenge their mindset and look at things a different way. If you really were celebrating because you care about yourself, celebrate with a plate full of bacon, or go for a walk, or invite a friend over to tell them about carnivore. There's a million things you could do besides give yourself a piece of cake, because you know somewhere in your mind that you're sabotaging yourself and you're doing it on purpose, and you got to work on that mindset. And so that's what that book is about. You can also find that on Amazon. It's very helpful. It's 90 days, and there's a place where you can journal and help you, one, break addictions that you have, two, change your mindset so that you can feel more secure in what you're doing, and three, it'll show you a way to journal so you can adapt that one or find your own way that would be good for you to journal and keep track of all the things you want to keep track of.
That's cool. Just trying to think of the so I'm reading in the chats. Okay, so obviously, okay, so this is kind of cool. Since I've done carnivore, I know 3 people that live out of an RV. So there's you, RV style. I don't know if you consider.
Well, I'm not living in it yet, though, but I'm close.
Right, but you're still in that van life. And then there's a lady on SPG. She's not here right now, but I know there was one lady, Amber. I don't know if she's still on here now, but she said she could only stay for a little bit, so she might have left already. But her name's LaDonna, and she lives, and you'll love her name for her van, Van Halen.
Ah, that's cool.
Yeah, so I thought you liked that. And then I don't know if Sandy has a special name for her van, but she lives full-time in an RV.
And Helen, Carnivore for Jesus. Is it Carnivore for Jesus? Helen, she lives in an RV.
Oh, okay. So 4 people. Yeah. And actually, it's funny you mentioned Helen, because guess who the next guest is going to be?
Oh, good. She'll be in her RV. You'll get to see it. She will not be looking at you through her steering wheel, though. She will not.
Well, maybe she'll do it just for you. Yeah.
And I see that Bobby goes, hi, I haven't met you yet, but she says she owns a van. So I have to get a new van, by the way, not a brand new van. I want a used van, but I need a different van. So, hopefully that's going to happen soon. Sell my house, get a little bit of change to, because my van
more like a 2-bedroom van instead of like a.
Oh my word. Yeah, so my van is 25 years old, and the past 2 months I've spent pretty much all of my gas money to go to Arizona fixing things on my van. And it's old, and that's just how it is. So I don't know how much longer Bean Dip is going to survive, but I have to take care of him, because Carrie told me that whenever we're finished with the documentary, that we're going to make a movie with Bean Dip.
The Bean Dip movie?
About Bean Dip, yeah. I asked him if it was going to be like, I asked him if it was going to be like the movie Christine. Do you remember the movie Christine, where the car was Christine?
My mom used to love Stephen King, so yeah.
It's like, man, are we going to have a murder scene with Bean Dip? I hope not, but...
Yeah, no, I don't think Bean Dip's really that bad. I think Bean Dip would be more like the movie Cars. I don't think.
Bean Dip is saved, so I don't think he would never really think about murdering somebody.
No. So we got a few people that just came on. The young lady Booby Goats that I was telling you about before, and yes, Aaron, we were talking about you briefly. She just came on. And Aunt B.
Yeah, she said she owns a van. Yeah.
She said she owns a van. Well, she owns a van, and Terry mentioned, Teresa mentioned that All for Jesus Carnivore is Helen's
Yeah.
YouTube channels for next week,
Yes.
which so hopefully Helen comes on here. She's been on here. She was on here earlier today, actually. She no, it wasn't her.
It was
Yeah, she
yesterday.
was. What?
Was it? She came on yesterday. I came on yesterday, and she did too. Remember?
Yeah, okay, that was yesterday. But I thought
Yeah.
she came on today too. Teresa
Maybe.
came on today, and I thought Helen came on as well, but maybe I'm wrong. So, like I might be 52, but my brain just sometimes gets like all mixed
Man,
up.
you are really old. I had no idea you're so ancient. Wow.
I know.
You're not that old. Hey,
You should. I said today on one of the chats, I said, "Yeah, I'm 96," and Peter Papa Carnivore's like, "You're not 96, no."
I think I'm doing pretty good for 75. I don't know. But...
Yeah, I'm doing really good. Just make yourself look really, really older, and then you look really young.
That's my point. That's why I picked 75.
Yeah. But it's funny how some people like just kind of like have to think for a second there, like, what? No, you're not.
Anytime I ever go to hospital or get an X-ray or stuff like that, and you're walking down the hall and they're not reading your chart. They're just asking, "What's your birth date?" And so I tell them, and I'll always say March 20th, 1986 or 1982, and they're like, "Okay," and I just look at them like, "Really?" And they're like, "Oh, wait, what?" I'm like, "I'm just trying to be younger, but nobody will let me change my birthday."
Yeah, they have to do the math and everything too. So that's
yeah.
So we got quite a bit of people, quite a lot of people here.
Yay!
It's
exciting. So do you have
what I'd like to do is we're almost 1 hour in. We have like about 3 minutes before the hour is up. And I think I mentioned to you what I'd like to do is like, as you tell your story, which is a wonderful story, by the way. And technically you're not my first guest. We all know that Lewis was my first guest.
Yes.
And he had a fascinating story, and same with you. And, it's just, I don't know how it's going to get any better, but every guest I have is going to be a wonderful guest. Sandy says that you do not look 75.
Good, because I'm not.
So I don't think I look 96. But I'd like to do is, and it's up to other people, I'm going to put the link into the chat and then let other people come on if they want to like introduce themselves to you and say hello and stuff like that. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's good with me.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to get that information.
Hey, by the way, I'm so happy that I'm your first steering wheel interview. Maybe I'll be your only one, but I could not do it without Bean Dip. So count it as an honor that Bean Dip is.
So technically, maybe I should like wait a little bit and then interview Bean Dip as well.
No, I don't want Bean Dip.
Then I don't know how much talking Bean Dip's going to have, but
I don't want Bean Dip giving away our secrets.
Aunt B is asking one question: what is the name of your book? I will happily share it out. So she's asking what your what the name. Well, you have many books, so that's sort of is there a particular book? Maybe I don't know. Is there a particular book that you're thinking of, Aunt B, or is she talking about the book that you're doing right now? I don't know. So I just put in the chat, and she may, anybody. I only have enough room, I think, for 6 panels, so I can only do 4 more people. But and we just got Rockin' Keto Amy that just joined the group. She's sorry that she's late. I've been working, but can come back and rewatch. Yes, you can. And you know what, Rockin' Amy, I would suggest you rewatch because it's. I might rewatch it because it's pretty riveting. So, and Susan Hampton just joined in. Everybody's apologizing for being late. You don't have to apologize. Better late than never. Yep.
Yes.
Better late than never. And the good thing about this is there are replays.
Yes, 100%. Y'all, I'm looking for my Amazon on my iPad. I don't ever get on there with this, but I was going to go ahead and post my author link, and that way you can see all of my books.
Yeah, I mean, Aunt B pretty much says like the latest one, and she'll find the rest. But I think what you just said would be actually a better thing. And I do apologize for background noise. I guess they're doing weed whacking or something outside. You know, sometimes they just like to be a little rude, and So I put the link into the chat, everybody, into
Oh,
the.
you found it? Okay, good.
Oh no, I had it like
Oh
I
no,
had it.
wait, my link or your link to get on?
Oh no, the link to the StreamYard
Oh, okay.
to people joining the link. Yeah, I don't, I'd have to like kind of like leave the screen and everything like that for me to do any links right now.
Yeah,
I mean, I will once this is all over. I think I know how to on the YouTube to actually add in like any description, so I'll be able to put your channel in there.
Okay, yeah.
So that would be definite. I'll be doing that. So when the replays hit, you'll actually see. I'll have Amy's YouTube channel on there.
We'll see if this author
I like
page.
I like to always put in like whoever I mention on my videos. I always like to put their YouTube channels in the descriptions.
We'll see if I can figure out how to share this channel. Gee whiz, you'd think this could be one of the reasons that nobody knows my books are on Amazon, because I don't even know how to use Amazon.
It's a learning process.
It could be the real reason right there. Okay, well, it's a good idea to post when I'll post the Healing Humanity book, because in my opinion that's the most important. And since I figured out how to get on YouTube and look at your comments, I'll do it over here. And then anyway, that way people can go and look at the other books for sure.
So this is actually really great. I'm actually so happy with this. And actually I don't know if anybody knows her or not. Some of you guys might know her, but I'm working on getting in about like the third, like not the next interview, but the interview after that. I don't know if you ever heard of her, but Miss E. She's actually Coach Alyssa from SBG.
Yes.
So I'm trying to work with her, and I think she would be a wonderful person. I think anybody would be a wonderful person.
From Steak. Oh, okay. I'm thinking about Dr. Barry's Alyssa.
Okay.
So I do not know that person.
Yeah. Well, I think you'd be fascinated with her as well.
Awesome.
I mean, there's so many people, and then I think I'll see if I can talk to him. But I think semi-retired Bob said something about being interested in coming on and telling his story. So that would be pretty fascinating. I think a lot of us know who semi-retired Bob is. So I mean, he's mostly works with. He has his own channel. He's been on with Dave Mack a lot, and Russ. Russ from Homesick Buckeye.
I don't know any of these people. What is up with that?
You got to get around, Amy.
I guess.
Yeah, you've been in this like I love Dr. Barry and everything, but you got to get.
Well, what I'm usually doing is writing. I write all the time, and so that's probably what the problem is.
Yeah, no, I'm just joking with you.
Let's see.
Even Dr. Barry's going to be like, Amy, you need to get around more. If Tom knows more people than you, that's not good.
I do know an awful lot of people, that's for sure.
You do. So it's kind of weird that you don't know these people, I mean, you do know Bella, right?
I know who?
Bella?
I know who she is, yes.
You never met her?
I nearly got to meet her. She was supposed to speak at Austin. I spoke at Austin. And so she was supposed to speak there, but she was sick and didn't get to come.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. That's a thing too. And man, let me tell you, if y'all have not been to a meetup, please, please find one to go to. It is so awesome. And if you can't go to a meetup, get on your social media around you and find out who's doing carnivore, and y'all go meet at a restaurant and have dinner and talk. Find a clubhouse somewhere to meet at somebody's house. It is so important. The connection is so important.
Yeah,
and I just feel like there's so much family that I have now. It's ridiculous how quickly and how deep the relationships are. When I say ridiculous, I mean in a good way. It's just kind of crazy how it all worked out, and it's all wonderful. I'm so thankful for everything.
To me, like I've said this before, and like I've been carnivore on and off for years, like here and there. But I consider myself fully carnivore when I started doing the community. And technically, and I've been thinking about actually doing a video, maybe a short or something like that, just telling of my original email that I sent Carrie that actually got him to, and what the email he sent and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
To be able, I thought that'd be a pretty good video. I don't know how long the video would be, but at least a really good short, just like a thank you for starting this whole thing. Because he's really the first person that, even before I went onto the chats and everything like that, he's the first person I emailed and told my story, and which is really good. So I see I see there's an Amy Hosp enter the chats.
I had to go back to my fan, y'all. It's a little warm.
I have a good joke for that one, but it's sort of an obvious joke, so I don't know. Is that your number one fan?
Oh, good grief.
Okay, how many people are laughing? Very reluctantly.
I have a carnivore joke. I guess it could fall in the carnivore category.
Okay.
Yeah? Are y'all ready for this? So there was this gentleman who was not making enough money to feed his family. So he goes into this church and he's just going in to pray. God, please help me. Please give us something to eat. We're hungry. Lord, please help us. So he's, praying at this little country church. And now while he's in there praying, there's this guy walking home from the grocery store, and he's got his arms full of groceries, and he's got this big round wheel of cheese in there. I've never seen anybody buy a wheel of cheese at the grocery store, but this guy evidently did. And he's walking up, and he's on a hill right above the church, and he trips and he falls, and this cheese wheel goes rolling down the hill and hits the front doors of the church. Bam! And the guy in the church was like, God, was that you? Boy, that was quick. I hope that was you. I'm going to go look. And he opens up the door and he goes, oh my gosh, there's this wheel of cheese laying there. There's all this cheese. And he goes, oh, thank you, God. Thank you, God. I'm going to go home and show this to my wife. So he runs home and he gets home and his wife says, what is that? And he said, quick. I was praying for God to feed us. And all the way home, God said, you got to make nachos. And the wife said, nachos? What are you talking about? And he goes, yeah, God kept saying that's nacho cheese. That's nacho cheese.
Okay.
There it is. I will be here until 6 p.m. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes.
Couldn't help it. I was reminded of that joke the other day, and I thought it's too good not to share with people.
Well, I'm glad you saved it for today.
For today, yes. See? It's technically a very old joke, but anyway.
Nacho cheese. That's funny.
That's nacho cheese.
So I put the link into the chat again. Just like I said, anybody wants to do a round table with me and Amy, and you can actually ask her some questions that are not even in the chat. You can actually verbally ask her, and you can say hello. This is who I am, and introduce. You guys can meet each other. I probably already know most of you, so.
I think a square table is better than a round table because then it's very defined and specific. You know what I'm saying? Like the round. I'm kidding. That was. Did y'all see that? That was a Tom.
I'm
That
waiting
was
for
a
the
Thomas.
punchline.
That was a Thomas joke right there. That was Thomas.
You imagine the Knights of the Square Table? Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, y'all.
Well, in a way, we're it's for us. It's not even a round table. It's more like the Brady Bunch.
True.
Yeah. It's like as you get more squares. I know. Mitch can do up to 10 people on his thing, but I think when you have too many, I think it's a little problematic in a way. Like it's kind of like it's too many people, like brewing the broth, so to speak.
So,
Where does Amy live?
oh, whoops. Speaking of people, multiple people. Um, so I do have a Zoom channel, and I've been wondering if I should do lives or not on my Zoom channel. What do you guys think? I can't decide if I should or not, but it would be great just to get on and just talk. That's what we do Friday nights, by the way, the Great Steak Escape on Healing Humanity. We just hang out and talk and blow the breeze, Dante does
Yeah,
the
no,
same
I
thing on
mean,
Sundays.
I definitely, I definitely think that if you could do it through Facebook, I mean, a lot of people might not have Zoom, but
Yeah, I can do it through Zoom. I can Zoom,
right, like as
Facebook,
long as it goes
WhatsApp.
through something that everybody else is a part of,
Yeah, I
I
can
think
do it
I
through
think it'd be
YouTube.
great.
I can do it through
Like
YouTube as
right,
well.
like I do right now. This is through StreamYard, but obviously it's being done through YouTube.
Yeah.
It's being channeled through YouTube, and right now I have the free service. But if I decide to get actually the paid service, the next step up, then there's a lot more I can do. So, like right now, I'm just not doing it because I got so many things on the plate, but once I can
It would not be a
expand
bad
it.
idea if anybody else wanted to do it with you to partner up and y'all split the cost.
I mean,
Wouldn't
does
that
Zoom
be?
cost? Like, doesn't have a free version of it? Like the start or anything like that?
I don't know. It'd be something to look into though. So, like if you did it and you had somebody that was your partner that was doing it with you, then they use your sign in, and then you just have to decide if you're going to be doing it at the same time or not.
Yeah.
So I see this, Sandy. You're asking where I live. I live in Fort Worth, and so yes, it is hot. Today we're having a cold front, but it's only like 82. But it's pretty humid today.
I mean, here it's warm today, but our problem is with New Jersey is we get very humid here. So it's like a very
Yeah.
dry heat. So like you could be like 80 degrees, but it's going to feel like 110 because it's like 90% humidity. So
Yeah.
that's where the problem is for us. That's why we probably have the ocean. So then if we're desperate enough and we want to pay the money, then we can jump in the ocean. Not that I do, but So so I'm just trying to think of any other questions. If anybody has any questions to ask Amy, feel free. One of the things I got to work on is like my question asking skills.
You
I
do.
mean, it's like I've been doing this for about almost a week now, and it's going back and forth and everything like that. But I like it, and it's growing. Like last week, I probably would have like 6 people on. Now I have 14 people according to the chats, and I know we have a lot of people in here. And but I already knew that because I've been advertising that you're going to be the guest. So I think that people just know you.
Everybody was
Even
like,
if you don't know them, they seem to know you.
"Oh, that's a little
Um,
scary." Yeah, we were like, "Who's Amy? Who? Wait, who is that?"
right. But now they do know you. So
Well, yeah, I've done a lot of interviews, and I've gone to quite a few meetups. And Terry always wants me to share my story. Lynn and I share our stories all the time.
yeah, you've been on stage a few times, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
Healing Humanity meetups. It's great because it's encouraging. It encourages me to be able to share. It encourages each other. Every time I hear somebody share their story, I'm encouraged. You know.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Like we were talking before about how like taking the next step. Like every time, like we want to kind of go to where like we get to where we want to be. Well, what's next?
Yeah.
And like I was mentioning this morning, and I got a few people said I would be good at it, and I don't know. I still have to like think about it. But Dr. Kills has a program right now where he's training you to be a coach.
Yeah.
And Dr. Nelson is the one that's actually teaching it. He's the one that's actually the instructor. And I mean, I had to invest, and it's about actually, let me get to the bottom of the comments. It's basically about $400, I think, $400-500. But I'm thinking like, okay, now that my journey is getting more and more, I think I would be pretty good, at least in a few months, definitely be able to be a coach myself. I mean, maybe not right this second, but I do eventually think that
You would be a great coach because you're definitely compassionate and you're very knowledgeable and you're encouraging and you're nice sometimes. So that you would be you're nice
when
all the
it,
time.
when it benefits and suits me, I'm very nice.
No, you would be a great coach. You should totally do it. I've thought about doing it myself, but I think I really need to continue focusing on writing and getting the books out and you know
Yeah.
that kind of thing and getting an air conditioner. Y'all, my air conditioner. I had a compressor change about 2 months ago. Someone blessed me with the money to fix my compressor, and it worked great for about a month. And then my refrigerant started leaking out. So we refilled that, and then it lasted for 4 days. So now we're having to work with the refrigerant, but the van has two air conditioning units, one in the front, one in the back. And so it's leaking somewhere where we can't find it. We'll have to take the van apart to fix it. So I came up with a genius idea to Google different options. Wasn't that genius? And so we found one. And so we're going to reroute the refrigerant just to be up in the front. But I got to have it done before I leave next Wednesday. So pray that I get it done so I can not die on my way to Arizona. That would be super duper great if
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree.
yeah.
So, so we got some more people. Kitchen Witch just joined us. Kitchen Witch 1885 to be exact. Her name is Tanya. So
Hey, Tanya.
she just came in. Like I mentioned before that Aunt B came in. Like my roommate actually loves Aunt B because of Aunt B being from Andy Griffith. And I told Aunt B about that one time, and she laughed. At least I think she was laughing. I don't know.
So,
a little hard to tell on a chat.
So Sandy had asked if I have a YouTube channel, and I do.
Yes.
And it is called Amy Hosp, a carnivore created in secret. And I have like 3 or 4 whopping videos on there. Not very many videos yet.
Yeah. Well, you do a lot. I've seen you do a few shorts. You have a few shorts in there. Right?
I have more short. I have a lot of shorts that I'll eventually have nothing to do with carnivore.
Well, the shorts seem to do pretty well. I mean, it's
yeah.
I mean, my problem is it's just very hard for me to talk on shorts because I kind of like, like I don't know, it's kind of weird. But I actually did a video a few days ago called the other guy's breakfast. Because I actually cooked breakfast for my roommate.
Yeah.
And I did that, and this is the first time this has happened. I have like almost 1,200 views.
Wow, that's awesome.
On it. So it's weird. Some of the things, like it's just me making eggs and sausage for my roommate, and sausage.
But you know what it is? It's the name of it's all in what you call it, and what you talk about. Because, yeah, definitely. But just consistency. I talk about consistency all the time. The one thing I'm not consistent with is making videos and making shorts. And I actually have a lot of shorts that have nothing to do with carnivore, but it wouldn't hurt for me to just go ahead and load them all on my channel just
Yeah.
because, and I usually get quite a few views with them. I have one short that I went to, when I went up to Tennessee, I guess it was 2 years ago, the first time I met Dr. Berry. Well, on the way back, I went by Dolly Parton's house, or maybe on the way. No, actually, that was a whole different trip. Anyway, I went by Dolly Parton's house, and so I did a little bit of filming, and I put a Dolly Parton song. I think that has, I think, 1.5 million views, that short. I just happened to, all I'm doing is driving with my phone out the window, filming the side of a mountain, playing that. That's it. That's all there is. But I just happened to post it, I guess, right at Christmas. It was a Dolly Parton Christmas song.
It's funny, I mean, I'm still pretty small potatoes. I admit that, but it's just compared to like 4 months ago, it's getting so much bigger. And I know if I keep on the momentum I'm going, it's going to get bigger.
Listen, here's the other thing, Thomas. I have a couple of YouTube channels because I'm never consistent. And I'll start something new and I'll think I need a channel for this, and then I'll post like 2 or 3 things. But it is consistency, and I think you're doing great. Like, I'm really small potatoes when it comes to that. And I don't really want to be, I don't want to have to do YouTube and do all of that. I think it would be fun. But, right now I know what my priorities are. And while that would be helpful, maybe eventually I'll be able to take the time and spend the money that it takes to really get a channel like that going, But
I mean, it's funny. Like, I actually will get a notice in my email saying that my payment was declined, and I'm like thinking like, what do you like? Google will send me an email, or YouTube, and I'm like, why is what payment are we talking about here? Like, I'm not doing anything with charging, and they're like, well, for your commercials. Like, I don't do commercials. Like, I'm not monetized.
That's a scam. That's a scam.
Yeah, no, I know that. That, but I'm just like, what? There's no way, So I'm just like, okay, when I get monetized, then whatever. But I'm nowhere near that yet. So, and I don't know how I feel about getting monetized. I know monetization would help me somewhat, but I don't think, from what I'm hearing, it doesn't really help that much. It's sort of like like pennies on the dollar, basically, and it's just, I mean, I'm pretty happy with, like, things are going pretty well for me, and I know they're going to get better and better and more. But like right now, like I think we can all assess that I have a pretty hard time keeping up with the chats. So like those are things like, I'm so grateful I have all these people, and do not stop, by the way. But like just keeping on it is like, hard for me, and I'm sure it's hard for other people.
You do great keeping up with chats. Are you kidding? You do a great job with that.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, right now there's that, right? I'm saying if it increases, though, you should see me, like, when I'm doing the chats on kills and stuff like that. I'm like,
But you're like number
like,
one.
I gotta find something here.
You're always one of the top 3 posters, though, so it's good.
Yeah, well, what I do? I just go on the bottom, and I just kind of like the last one, but who's really hard to do chats with is Dr. Barry. I mean, they sometimes will go like a mile a second. It's like,
yeah.
Like, I don't know. I have to get those moderators. Like, he definitely needs moderators, and I have to give them all credit, because the fact that they keep up even a little bit,
right.
And who's really good at it is Papa Carnvore. He's, I mean, the thing is like, I try to do my best when it comes to kills, because I don't know if you realize, but like, I'm a blue wrench, and so I like to keep up with somebody, even if it's something small, like, like, hey, congratulations on your 20 years of, or whatever, and
there's one thing about being in the chat, though, that we all have to be careful. And I want to encourage everybody, if you're going to be answering things in chat, be careful about what type of advice you're giving, and realize that whatever works for you doesn't always work for everybody else. And whatever works for everybody else doesn't mean that you need to go home and try that either. And it's very dangerous if you're not a medical professional to give medical advice in a chat. I do. There are a handful of channels that I stay away from because they'll have a group meeting and people will ask questions and there's not a medical professional in there, and all of them would be like, well, that happened to me once. I don't know. Maybe you could try this. That's not appropriate, and it's dangerous, and it could really hurt somebody.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it might not even just hurt you or hurt the person you're giving the advice to. It could also hurt the person the channel it's on.
Yeah.
As well, because you're sort of like hurting their possibilities and stuff. You can get them in trouble. But yeah, I agree. But it's funny. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just saying, the one thing that you can share in chat is your experience and what you did. And, just be clear, this is what worked for me. But don't go on and say, this is what you should do. Because when I very first started, one of the things that I couldn't stand up long enough to cook. And so I ate already cooked foods, frozen sausage, frozen hamburger patties. And I was down to like 3 things that I could actually prepare for myself.
Right.
Without suffering, really. And I remember this one lady said, oh, sausage, you can't do sausage. Are you kidding me? You're going to gain weight doing sausage. You gain weight doing sausage. And I was like, no, that's not what Dr. Berry says or anybody else says. But it discouraged me, and I nearly quit because I thought that's the only choice.
So you thought you were doing wrong. Right. Like what?
And now I still remember who this person is, and we're actually friends.
Of course, they stick in your head like a sore thumb, basically. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but she doesn't know that I even have thought this because I never ever told her. But guess what? Newsflash: I actually lose more weight when I eat pork sausage than when I don't. So that's
that's what I'm talking about. What works for her doesn't work for her. Doesn't necessarily do that for you.
Yeah, just keep that in mind, y'all. I really hope that everybody will think about that, because
and isn't that sort of why we have the the N=1 experiment?
If
we all work the same, we wouldn't need to do N=1. It would be like, okay, Bob does this, so that means Tom can do this.
Yes.
It's the same thing for
You can try anything once, but be mindful. Keep track. Keep a record of what you're trying so that you'll know if it works or not. That's why I took pictures of. I still do it. And you know what
annoys me? Okay, it doesn't annoy me in the way of like, oh my God, I'm gonna like leave right now because I hate this, But it sort of just annoys me a little bit. And I know it sort of has to be that way with Dr. Berry and some of these channels here because they're so busy that they get so many people. So they need the moderators to answer some of the questions.
Yes.
But, I'm a very big man on rules. And, one of the things that it says in every chat, please put a QQQ or a capital Q, like 3 capital Qs, whatever, in front of the question. So then the panel, in my opinion, that means that you want the panel to answer it. So if I put a question out there, I'm not looking for somebody out in the audience to answer my question. I'm looking for like somebody like Carrie or Todd or somebody that can answer in the panels. That's how I think of it. So I don't really put QQ that much because half the time somebody in the panel, somebody in the chats are answering it. And I appreciate that. But at the same time, it's like, let's get them to answer first. And then if you have a follow-up, then follow up with it. What I'm trying to say? Like, and there's 1 or 2 people that are like really bad at that. It's like you always know if they're in the chats, you always know that they're probably going to answer before the actual panelists answer. And luckily they still get answered in the panel, but it's just kind of weird,
Yes, but you know what? Like on Dr. Berry, for instance, and with Carrie, the moderators, if there's a moderator on there, they're a certified coach,
right.
Number 1. Number 2, they're a certified medical professional of some type.
Right. Which is why I said he's the exception to the rule. A lot of these doctors are exceptions to the rule.
Yeah.
But what I'm talking about is like, like a lot of times it's on like with Mitch, people answer for Mitch.
Yeah.
Or people will answer for Carrie or Adam, or Don. It's like
listen, they answer for Dr. Berry too. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying though that and a lot of times if you're in Dr. Berry's group, it doesn't really happen that way. He's going to answer what he can answer.
Right.
No matter, because he's not checking to see if it's already been answered by somebody else.
No, he just answers it. Yeah, I've had my questions answered
Yeah,
by him and by.
well, and that doesn't happen on Healing Humanity either. There's usually Lynn and Adam checking the chat, making sure that everything gets asked, and
Right.
so even if somebody else has already answered it, they'll go ahead and ask the professional that's there.
Yeah, I've gotten kind of used to it. It's just, I mean, it was a little bit more annoying in the beginning when I first started Carnivore. I'm like, oh my God, can you please let the other guy answer the question, But now it's like sort of like, okay, I kind of know this person, and it's just the way they are, and
Well, and two, the other thing, Thomas, that's true. We're all so anxious to help everybody because we know.
Yeah, and I get super anxious too with it, I just.
Okay.
But I kind of pull back still because I'm like, okay, do I fully understand what's going on here? There's a lot of medical terms I still don't really know. So, I mean, all I can do is tell my story. That's all anybody really can do. And if my story seems to help, then great. So what I do a lot of times is I'll go on the chat and I'll be like, hey, look at this. My A1C today is 101, or it's 88, or something like that. My sugar level, or today I had a pretty bad day. My sugars went really high, and I guess I'm sort of like coaxing them to say, okay, well, this is what I did. Now, some of the advice is pretty much like already been told to me 1,000 times, but I still listen to it, okay, you need to eat more fat. Well, I get that because that's why I'm here, I mean, I'm eating more fat and I'm doing really well. I've lost a lot of weight. To boast about myself a little bit, I went from a 44 waist to a 40 waist in the 5 months that I've been doing this, and I've gone down from an 2XL shirt to an XL shirt. So, I mean, there's so much promise. And my A1C, the baseline went from an 8.9 to a 7.6. And I know it's even lower than 7.6. I just don't have proof of that until I get my A1C checked.
Yeah.
And that's a lie.
Yeah. So, and that's like something that, it's the little things. You have to look at the little things. Even, I mean, they don't have to be giant things that happen to say that we're better. But I also want to encourage everybody, if you're looking to feel better, if you're look for what is better. Don't look for what still needs to be fixed. Look at what's already better, and that will encourage you. And that's where you can see your consistency coming to fruition, So focus on what's already good. Don't look at what still needs to happen.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta look, exactly. You gotta look at, don't look at how much more needs to be finished, because you know what, you're better off not looking for the finish line. You're better off looking for the journey. And as you move onto the journey, it's not about the finish line. It's about that. Yeah. And as you keep on progressing, and what people don't realize, I think you dropped your laptop or your phone.
Sorry. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I am gonna have to go pretty soon. Hey, we turned on the hazard. When I did that, it turned on the hazard lights. There, I'll turn them back off.
That's not a problem at all, because well, I know you have some time, but
well, actually,
but I also know that there's another Zoom call coming on in about a half an hour.
Yeah, and to be quite honest, I'm getting very hot. I need to go in somewhere where there's some air conditioning. So
I don't blame you. But I do appreciate you coming on here.
Oh, I loved it. It was great. It was nice meeting everybody. Yeah. Susan, I saw your comment. I'll be praying for you about that. I'm kind of in that same thing. Do I keep my little house that I have? Do I sell it? Do I buy land and move it and then sell? Whatever the case may be. But I'll be praying for you about that too.
I mean, this whole thing is like, just to me, it's like you being on and Lewis being on and all these people are going to be coming on. It's like so amazing to me, and it just keeps on getting, like, that's another thing that's been getting better and better. It's just, how, like, what will be my, like, what kind of guests will I have? Will I have Dr. Kiltz on sometime being interviewed?
Yeah.
doctor,
Yeah.
and who knows, you know?
If you can
I
catch
mean,
them, yeah.
I know, really. Well, you know what? I even said this. Like, he should be a clone. You should clone Dr. Kiltz.
Yeah.
That way he can be everywhere, and you know, and everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I don't. I'm not. I just threw him out there. I'm not saying, you know, but or even Carrie or even Adam. You know, like, where it's reversed, where they interviewed me, but now I can, like, kind of like let them tell a little bit about themselves, or even
Yeah.
Jen. You know, like, it's just, you know, anybody that's willing to come on here. I mean, I know I'm a small channel right now, but with everybody coming on, hopefully it'll help me grow. And
Yeah. I think you're
you
doing a
know,
great job. Honestly, you're doing a great job. So,
I'm
and
trying.
thanks so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it. Maybe we can do it again someday. Maybe you can come. I'll interview you on my channel.
That'd be wonderful.
Don't hold your breath because it probably will be a while. I'm got to go to Phoenix first and come back, but you know, make sure that I can get home from the desert. That'll be interesting. Anyway.
On a
But,
desert with no name. Yeah.
oh Lord. All right. Well, cool. Well, I hate to go, but the sun is coming out and it's heating
I
up
don't
by
blame
the
you,
moment.
Amy.
Yeah.
I will thank you, you know, later on. Again, I'm not going to be able to see you on Friday, but next time when I see you, you know, because I have to work. So.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
All right.
Maybe I'll see you on Sunday at Dante's. So
That you probably
hopefully,
definitely will see me. Yes, on
yeah.
Sunday. All right.
All right, you guys. Thank you for coming. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Amy. I appreciate it.
All right.
Appreciate it. Have a good day, and
Hey,
good luck with the chiropractor.
thanks. Hey, do you need me to hang on here for a second at the very end after you do this for your download thing?
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be
Yeah.
fine. I'm gonna sign out, and so just very quickly, and it would be a couple seconds.
Okay.
All right. So everybody, I do appreciate you guys all coming on and listening to Amy's wonderful story and everything like that. So you know me, I'm not very good with words. So I do appreciate everything that's going on. You know, my heart pitter patters for everything that's going on with my life. And I think Carnivore has really helped a lot of us. And you know, I'm going to sign off now. And I actually already put in the post that I'm not going to be doing tomorrow because something happened. And I'll tell that story later on. But there won't be any live tomorrow. So I will see you guys again on Friday. All right, on Friday, 11 a.m. So this is Target Prime Rib. Over and out. Okay.